Welcome, everybody, to the Inside Star Citizen Review. We have our audience here today, a very motley crew, if you will, all wondering what is in store for us this week on Inside Star Citizen. Let us watch together as we always do, and let us just voice our opinions as we go. We'll stop. We have some time to chat. That's why I love the show. That's why I love you guys, because it's great to get all these different opinions. It's respectful. It's nice. It's upstanding citizens here on the channel. Let's go. Okay, getting hyped up.
With the recent release of the revamped 300 series, we've got our fanciest pants on this week as we celebrate all things Origin Jumpworks. But the party doesn't end with the ships themselves, as the universe's most luxurious manufacturer is also rolling out an all-new ship customization feature that lets you...
Now the ship customization feature is a hot topic. I'm just stopping it right here because there's some people that are upset with it. I personally am not. I've researched it. I've looked into it. Yes, this was a feature that they were going to offer for free. In 2016, they stated, at least people within SIG stated, that this was going to be a free feature. That's the argument that the naysayers are kind of like pushing right now. Like, this is something that was already planned and slated to be free, right? But on the other hand, like, the game needs money. The game needs money to finish, and I understand what they're doing is really no different than what Elite Dangerous is doing. And if people want to customize their ships, I really don't see the big deal in it if they want to put a little bit more money to customize it. Now, the counter argument to the naysayers who are saying, hey, man, this is bullshit, you shouldn't have to pay for it right now, is that the ships are going to be able to be customizable for free once the game is finished with creds. So to me, it's kind of a non-issue. You know, I understand why they're doing it. No, it's kind of shady the way that they're implementing it. I'm not kind of happy that they're putting a little cover over it. They should actually state, hey, we're changing what we had stated earlier. But, you know, it's kind of like a non-issue for me right now.
Come right out of the gate with components specific to your playstyle, as well as a unique combination of colors and materials that really make your 300 series ships your own. To show us how it all works, let's go now to our friend Benoit Beauséjour as he takes us through the particulars.
Wow.
I included the last part, the last name, because I spent so much time practicing it.
That was funny.
You've seen the work from Chris on how these ships were designed, and we've heard from John about the future of customization in-game. And so how does that translate to the web experience and how you get started with customization?
All right, this is cool. I'm waiting to hear this because last week's episode, they had talked about how they were going to integrate it directly from the web into the game, which is really cool.
So at the beginning, in order to do that, we had to build major systems. The first part was to enlist a bunch of artists and people to help us block shots for all the different customization options. And then out of this came thousands and thousands of layered images that display the different combinations. And to be able to display them in the customizer, we needed to have a dynamic composition system to be able to basically build all these layers into images as you select your options. And to finally deliver the ship to you guys in game once you're done purchasing it, we connect to the diffusion bridge, which is the back end of the game, and we actually edit this document that represents the loadout of your ship by talking directly with the game servers to interrogate the different options that are available.
Right.
And at the end of this process, this is sent to an entitlement processor that gives you the ship in-game. And so that's basically the gist of how customization works from the web side of things. So enough talk, let's go and take a look at it.
Yes.
So the journey for customization starts directly on the ship page. So as you go through the page, when you get to look at a specific ship that you've selected that you like, you'll now have an option to customize it. And so this customization option will actually launch the customizer that's specific to that ship manufacturer. And so as soon as this is loaded up, you're gonna already see in-game shots of the ship that allow you to basically look at all the different angles.
That's pretty slick, actually.
And then on the right, you get different customization sections and options that basically allow you to change materials, skins, and components on the ship. And so as now, we have here the origin.
I've also heard and have confirmation inside that they are going to apply the same methodology to and process to the modular components as well. So it's interesting when you're talking about different ships that have like modular capabilities. Oh, angle. Thank you, Angle, for the 200 bits, bro. That helps out the show. You are a god. Thank you so much, Sean, and thank you so much, Angle, for your donations today. So we did hear, or I did hear, that they're going to be doing the same concept with the modular components as well for ships that have modular components.
Celebration colors are available, and so I can take a look at what that looked like in the different angles of the
I
ship.
agree, Captain.
I can take a look at, you know, the reflection of it, change the standard color, go back to the original, compare between them. Out of all these options, I can now go down into the cockpit and basically change the trim of the cockpit and the materials inside. So this is,
yeah, we saw a little bit of this last week, a little bit. RSW says, yeah, that is why they mentioned about the modules. It's interesting. What is concerning is how they will let us customize capital ships. Yes.
John's segment, this is basically how these materials go down, is as we edit the document, it goes down into the ship and that changes the component. You can also go down to your yoke if you want to have the sport or standard yoke. These are basically origin design features that are specific to the 300i in this case. Go down to this seats, you can actually change between a standard and a sport seat and change some materials on it, which would basically, if you want to make it, you know, all leather, then you can keep going for it and that's all good. Change the finish on the actual seat, and then as you go down to bedding, so amenities in general, so living areas on the ships are also customizable, allowing you to basically change as many options
change
as you
those
can
sheets, you
on
know
it.
what I'm saying?
Packages are basically base loadouts that are predefined by Origin, and so
Get a little dirty
you
up in that
basically change
300.
the major components on the ship. And as you go down to the decoration section in this specific ship, you can add different amenities systems that basically change the living area style of that ship. And so as we're going through this customization process, you can see that there's literally thousands and thousands of combinatory options that are possible for each ship. The different options change for each ship.
Thank you, Ark.
The 50R, for example,
Excellent
will
to
have
hear,
different
dude.
options and will look different. And so as you launch into the customizer, every ship.
See, people are starting to feel the pain when it comes to the weapon loadouts. This is an interesting conversation to have. See, like, Heavy Bob was really upset about the customizations last week. I understand his point of view and I understand his argument. Actually, we talked about it a little bit at the beginning of the show, Bob. But like, one thing that I notice is that people are getting more upset now with the packages in regards to the loadouts for, I think it was the Javelin. Noobifier did a great video about it. I should probably link it in the Discord. But I started to see people getting upset when their loadouts were starting to be charged as well. Like when people had to start paying for like different types of loadouts, things started changing a little bit, right? So RSW brings up a really good point. Giant pink capital ship, says Captain. Oh my god, dude. Oh no. Oh, Captain, you're right, dude. Jeff says at least the price of what you are adding is also adding up in the bottom right under the ship. Yeah, so you know what you're getting into. That's right, Jeff. Spartan says this is literally the same as customizing a vehicle on the manufacturer's website. Yeah, it is. So they did it slick. They did do it slick. This is a kind of a rabbit hole. You're right, in a way, Bob. You know, like, so like at some point, I think scales will tip towards people getting kind of upset if they continue like a strategy like this. I understand why they're doing it because they need the money to kind of finish the game. But on that end, Bob, I completely agree with you. I think that if they continue this kind of strategy going up on like a pay-based scale for different types of unique custom items, and then also say, okay, we're doing it for loadouts as well when it comes to like the weaponry on your ship or the armor, the defensive mechanisms on your ship, then you're kind of getting on a slippery slope right there. And some people, I think, will come to terms with the fact like, hey, hold on, but you're not forced to spend the money. That's the thing. So like for people that don't want to do it, I would just personally wait till the game is released and they'll do everything within game creds. That's my view on it, you know. Let's see here. Let's keep going.
Has a different set of options that you can customize and change. Now, in terms of rules for how this works in the pledge process. And so if you pledge for a ship and add customizations and you decide, you know, I no longer like this ship, and you decide to melt it, then you get 100% of the customization value and of the pledge back, just as it was normally. So this is a very open system. You cannot buy back customizations, and so what goes in your buyback
What's up, Pirate Ghost?
ship chassis. but
Good to
not
see
the
you.
actual customizations. These are basically refunded as store credits, and that's it. When you choose your customization options, be careful, because as you customize a
Hello
single
Kitty
ship,
paper lies and
the
pies.
only way to recustomize that ship is to trade it in and basically melting it. And so if you decide to go all yellow and that's what you like today and you want to change it tomorrow, you'll have to do a trade-in in order to change those customizations. In the case of a ship that was upgraded, so if you buy a 300i, you customize it the way you like it, and then you decide to upgrade to a 315p, for example, when you apply the upgrade, your customizations will be melted, you get the value back of the customization, and then the ship's chassis is swapped into your pledge just normally. And so that's basically how the rules apply to it. And so obviously this is our tier 0. This is the first
RSW brought up something really funny. Why is this customization tool so pretty yet the whole website is an utter mess? I don't understand why SIG hasn't made the website a focus. You're absolutely right. That is so very, very true, RSW. You know, like I said, they're going to go through a complete UI overhaul. They're going to go do exactly what they're doing on these ships with colors, and they're going to apply it to like market items, which I am really looking forward to. I do need this game to have a depth to it in regards to industrial gameplay. The game mechanics have to always come first to me. I noticed on some of these Inside Star Citizen episodes that they're kind of switching gears, and they are making game mechanics kind of an issue more than they were in the past, and I'm very happy about that. I think we need to always be vocal as citizens to make sure that we keep them on point, that game mechanics should always come first above all. Above all.
Manufacturer and ship line that we have in the customizer. Currently, all of this workflow is currently only available on the platform, but will be available in-game as well, where you'll be able to basically purchase a ship in-game with in-game currency and customize it the way you like it, exactly the same way as it's done online. The current version is only available on the web for now. Obviously, in part of these options, manufacturers can decide that some of these options are locked for a period of time, and so keep looking at the options, as some of them will pop up when there are special events, and others are only available for a limited time, so take advantage of that.
No, I'm not using Jax for this.
Jared's going into his segue joke here. Sorry, Jared, to interrupt with your segue joke, but this is interesting. Pirate says, I wonder if there's going to be a place to go in game to buy aftermarket customization. What would be really cool is if the same UI interface that we're seeing on their website that applies to the in-game is also in the game. I think that would be really cool, and I think they're actually planning that. Oh, snap. Thank you. Damon, you are a god. $5.
Tip for tip. I'll show you mine if you show me yours.
Thank you, Damon, for your donation, man. It helps out the show a ton. A ton. Let's keep going.
We had a Galactic Tour video in 2016.
Bob.
Where, you talked about it.
We have to stop the show. Somebody gave me money, Bob.
To be perfectly honest, I can't think of a better way for Origin's ships to be celebrated than with drunken revelry. From day one, Origin has been crafting vehicles that are as fun to fly as
I
they
missed
are to
that
look
old
at.
style
I'm
300.
talking the stuff of locker posters.
I missed the old style
the kind
300.
Of ship that few middle-aged pilots can resist the allure of. Sure, people may think you're a pompous arse if you come cruising up to the local Cryastro in one, but what do you care? You own a 350R.
Just when you thought we were out of segments on the flight model, we've got Dave Coulson to pull us back in with this look at his team's work on hover mode, an evolution to VTOL flight that looks to change the way ships perform at their slowest speeds while flying
Right,
through
exactly,
atmosphere.
Jeff.
So I've been working on hover mode, which
Use
is
it
an
for this so
extension of
much.
what was the VTOL animation mode. Where
Okay, so far, here's a great question for the audience right now. You guys can type it in there so everybody watching the show can see what you guys think. But what are you guys thinking about the new flight model so far? Just put it in there so that people can just look over the comments as they're watching the video that's going to be posted here on YouTube. Just put in the comments what you guys currently think about the flight mode, because they're going to be talking about hovering now. So I'm really interested in what he's going to be talking about here.
Separate the VTOL animations from the landing animations. We decided to kind of expand the hovering gameplay and actually make the flight model a bit different. So we'll just take a look immediately at this. So we've directed all of the thrust downward
this,
when
Sid?
you're in hover mode. So
This
that's
is
kind of like
feedback
a
for you,
helicopter.
Sid.
And so if I say tilt the Gladius forward, the blue line will show
That's
you the
true,
velocity of
pirate.
the ship, which is kind of going downward and forward. And then if I tilt back to slow down, the ship will kind of rise and stop. So you can no longer hover at any angle. You have to hover level, which will make this a lot more believable to look at and a lot more.
The citizens are speaking right now. I really want people to pay attention to what people are saying about the flight model, because the feel of flight is very important. Being connected to the ship is half of the feels of this game. You gotta feel connected to your ship, and look at the comments that we're seeing right now. Very interesting.
Feel a lot more realistic. So if you wanted to move forward, you say tilt your nose forward, and you can still strafe up by pressing space.
Hey, Matt.
And you can kind of control the strength of your thrusters to do that. So then you can kind of
it's okay,
nice, steady
DIY.
forward flight like this. If I wanted to stop, I can pull back like this. If I wanted to go back into normal flight mode,
okay, I dig
you hold
that.
W, which on some ships will animate the thrusters, and then eventually you'll go.
Okay, this goes right directly to a talk that we had a couple months ago about flight, atmospheric flight. We talked about it here on a stream. I think it was when they had the older Around the Verse episodes. We were talking about atmospheric flight and how dumb it was that we just had this weird hover. So they're going to make it a little bit more in regards to actual physics, which is great. I still think they need tons of work on the atmospheric flight. The sounds got a little bit better, which is nice. Some of the elements of the atmospheric flight have gotten better, but they're not nearly where they need to be. But I am happy to see that they're doing something with the hover here.
Go back into normal flight mode. And then once you go below a certain speed, you can either forcefully turn on VTOL mode by pressing a button, or it'll go into that mode automatically below a certain speed. And then you can fly around like this, tilt right to go right.
There has to always be a balance, like Jeff says. Jeff is saying, as long as messing with the flight model is fun, keep the realism. Fun is key. Realism comes in second place. And that's honestly, you've got to find this balance between like what is fun and what is realistic, because it is a game. And if we make this so real that a lot of people are going to need like a 300-page manual to fly the ship, it's going to be a little bit difficult. You know, it comes down to like how much you want to get into the game and the portion of the audience that you're trying to hit to bring in like the biggest amount of people that are going to play the game and be able to fly. Personally, I'm all the way like 2 flight sticks, go completely gun to the max, and I want pure realism. But I do understand that if they go that route completely, you're going to kind of you're going to cut off a large slice of the fan base, of the audience, of the supporters, because they're just not going to take the time out to do it. But also, if you think about it, the option in Star Citizen is if people aren't that into it or can't take the time to learn that type of realism, they could always just live on a planet.
You can kind of drift like this and then roll left like that, and you can kind of arrest that turn. If you've lost your normal strafe controls, obviously you can really press going downward. Definitely feels a lot more fun to kind of fly at low speeds like this now, and it looks really cool. The hope is that this kind of feels more believable and realistic.
I'm glad you got that, bro.
But past that, it's a lot more enjoyable and rewarding to fly at these low speeds. Previously, you could, do whatever you wanted effectively, as though you were in space. But now it kind of feels grounded, and it feels like you might expect a hover jet or a helicopter to fly. And it just feels so much more cool to there's a little bit more depth right in the gameplay.
The cockpit is where all the action happens on a fighter. But as ships get larger, they need the capability and versatility that can only be found in a full-scale bridge.
I think I did pirate.
We're talking about the massive 890 jump, where luxury and maybe a tiny bit of excess is the order of the day. What's the only thing better than one bridge?
Why, that'd be 2 bridges, Jared.
Let's let Pete Royale show us more.
Another quick update on the 890. We're all really busy at the moment doing the final art phase, but got a little bit to show you here. We've got the bridge, we've got the battle bridge, the armory,
some
and the
890 deliciousness here. What are we going for?
Another bridge that's part of the Origin family, so we wanted it to feel like it's part of the same family as the 600. Take some of the hallmarks we've established in there, so we've got the same kind of structure that holds the pilot seat. A lot of the same styling, but it's that evolved styling that we took forward on the 890 that we've got in the atrium, so the faces are less curvy and are more faceted. We've added extra screens in here because gameplay-wise we need the pilot, the co-pilot and the engineering, but it's such a large ship, there's going to be more control. Even though it's implied, we've got more screens in there. And of course in the centre, we've got the big hollow globe for mapping out where you want to go.
Yes, Rick, I completely agree.
And there
Listen, we've been talking about this for a long time. Rick and I are on the same page. Rick says, I'd like less talks about ships, more about game systems. Here's what we talked about on a video we had done on my channel. I can't remember which one it was, but there was a great discussion on one of the videos. And on it, one of the fans had said, hey, as far as the ships go, they're always going to have ships on the Inside Star Citizen show. And I said, like, what if they just separated the ships from the game mechanics? So for instance, like, had a show just about ships. Like, I think that would be a really good idea. What do you guys think? Since they want to sell ships, and there's a lot of ship enthusiasts out there, and there are people who really like this type of content, they should really make a show in the style that they did for the Grand Tour. When they did that, they should kind of do that as a separate show and have just a complete ship show. I mean, if you're listening, Sig, I think that would be a wonderful idea, that if you just did a ship show, kept the Inside Star Citizens towards like your progress, what you were doing, and some detail as well. And then, the dev talks could get into more and more detail as well. But I think that might be a pretty interesting idea for them to do just a ship show designed for ship enthusiasts.
at the back, we've got the component cupboard. So in here, we've got the avionics.
And RSW is right. And thank you, Rick. Rick says that's a good idea. Thank you. And then RSW says, I'd like a show dedicated to one game mechanic talk once per month. That would be wonderful. That would be wonderful. Pies also agrees. Less ships, more game systems. Sig proceeds to show us skins. Right. Yes, Pies. Yes. Arcane says, one thing I noticed from watching y'all, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like since they built off of selling ships to keep them afloat, that's where most of their time and effort is going. Yes. Selling the new ship instead of developing the rest of the game. Now, they do split it up, but they're very much pushing the ships, and it feels gimmicky at times, and that's why I think they should create like a separate show for people who are into the ships and ship enthusiasts. I love it. I would watch it. I love the ships. I love ship design. I like what they're doing with the ships, but I want them to kind of separate that so I know what I'm watching. You know, like, okay, here's my ship show. I'm watching the ship show. Okay, here's my game mechanics show. You know, like Inside Star Citizen should be about their progress. You know, they can put a little detail in there for the people that want to know the detail. They can do, you know, the detail on the what is it, calling all devs, you know, like they're more specific shows for like where you're at in the grand scheme of everything in the game mechanics, as far as the details with each game mechanic. I think that would be wonderful if they kind of separated their content that way. I really do.
And same on this side. And
Yeah,
then
Maxie,
if you
I
do find
agree.
yourself in a sticky situation and you're a bit exposed up top, you can head down to the lower deck.
Yeah, and get fans more involved as well. Like Pirate says, that would be good. Also have the fans come up with ship names like they did for the Drake ships. Every month or quarter have like contests for that type of thing to keep fans interested, to actually insert things that are people. You know, here's another thing that they should take into consideration. There was a blurb about I stopped playing Eve forever ago, but I saw a video about a woman. Listen to this. She went to every system in Eve, including wormhole systems. It took her 9 years. She didn't lose one ship, and it was a player. And she went around and did this within 9 years. They were able to track it and make sure that she was legit. And they're building a statue for her in the game, which is cool. Like, she made the news and she's put into the game. So that's kind of the things that I want to see with Star Citizen as well. Even right now, even with the stages that we're at right now, things that happen there, like for instance, Rexzilla. Rex is doing all these really cool ops. I love his videos. He's going around playing with other people, showing people how to do really cool ops together. Like maybe have like a little statue on a planet base just for Rexzilla, like a Rexzilla statue. You want to do a DG statue? Cool. But you need very, very large pants to... No, just teasing. So I think that would be really neat if they started kind of inserting like all the players, like what we're doing into the game, you know, because it makes it more real, you know. I think that would be a wonderful thing for them to do.
Through to the battle bridge behind this door. So in the battle bridge, The idea is you can take control of your ship from here as you would on the normal bridge. You got an additional 2 seats there for the remote gunners, and essentially it's just a safer, more secure place if you're under attack where you can command your ship. This one's a little behind some of the other areas. It still needs its final
That's
phase
the oh
yet,
shit,
so
we're in
there's
some
gonna be
serious
horn and
doo-doo
detail
room.
and the blinky lights added. And that'll be that one done.
Our party ship's
Then if you
being
do need
raided.
to
Go to this
tool up
room.
because you're under attack and they've boarded, just take a short run this way.
Wow, it is much bigger.
This
You're
is
right.
the armory, so along this corridor we've got 2 cupboards.
DG Pablo.
Behind each we've got the storage space for guns. This is the styling we've got for all this engineering deck. And then we move on, find yourself under attack and you're coming off.
Yeah, Chris Roberts gave up 10% of his own personal stock. So it's a privately traded stock right now, Arcane. You can't really buy it. Although some people can buy the shares that are venture capitalists, that Chris decides to sell the personal shares of the company to. They're private shares, privately owned. And so all the shares are within the company. And if he ever wanted to make it public, I think that would be a great idea. But then he'd be giving up like his control. And I don't know if that's necessarily a good or a bad thing. That's a great discussion. We've had it here on the channel many times. If you guys want, I've completely reorganized the channel by economy talks, SIG financial talks, ships, like old ship reviews that I did, theorycraft. If you go to my channel, I've completely separated all of the playlists depending upon like the kinds of talks that we've had throughout the years. Just check out the YouTube channel and then you can see it there. But yeah, we talk about that a lot on the channel.
Worse for wear. Down at the end of the corridor, we got the med bay.
Wow, med bay, that's cool.
So in the med bay, we've got sectioned off in 2 areas. So classic sci-fi, you've got your quarantine where you can look through the window, see
Damn
the
it, Jim.
patient.
I'm a doctor.
Inside, we've got
Not a
the
philanthropist.
standard scanner that'll,
That's total
heal
Star
them
Trek.
and
That's
perform
total Star Trek. I love it.
minor procedures. Final phase, which will be dressing all of these rooms and adding things that make them feel more alive.
So what did we learn this week? We
Man.
learned that we're another step closer to customizing rich Corinthian leather into most of our spaceships. Hover mode wants to put an end to
Yes.
ships that
More-
float in the air in all manner of strange...
Oh my God, that's a lot of Jared's. More elaboration on the medical field, on botany, on different types of medicines and injuries and sicknesses and illnesses. Matt and I actually had a great talk about like the differences in like being able to create your own medicines, create your own diseases. I think that would be really cool as well.
angles. And just because the 890 jump looks this good
Give us
doesn't mean it
science.
isn't ready to defend itself. To our subscribers, our thanks for making each episode possible. And to everyone in the Star Citizen community, don't forget to check out all the Origin goodness going on right now. There's a free fly and a celebration and a social media contest. Oh my. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, and that's the sad thing here. Like Jeff is right. Jeff is actually right. There was a time when I felt like they could elaborate, and I miss those times. Like people really get upset too easily, too fast. Let's not forget about the imagination. Let's not forget about the fact that like we want this game to encompass a lot of different type of gameplay mechanics. We do. We just do. Years and years ago, the decision was put to the people. Hey, do you guys want this? Yes. Yes, we did. Do you guys want this? Yes, we did. This? Yes, we did. Yes, 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 yes. We keep saying yes, right? Now they had to like curtail it. They had to go, whoa, because this is going to take us 50 years. But at the same time, I don't want the exact extreme opposite of us feeling like we can't talk about theorycraft, of us feeling like we can't like have that imagination anymore, And this is no offense against Noobifier. I like his videos a lot, but like a lot of times when I watch Noobifier's videos, they are very cut and dry. They're very informative. I love that about him. But also like he's very much against theorycraft, and I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that like in order for us to like get the kind of gameplay that we want in a game, we have to really talk about these things. We have to let our imaginations run just a touch so that we can get different types of gameplay that we want in the game. If we don't discuss it, if we don't vocalize it, we don't get that out there, then SIG doesn't know. And I think it's really important that our voices are heard, that we do have that imagination. Otherwise, it feels like it's not it feels like it's dead, you know, before it's even begun if we start that. Wow, so many comments here today, guys. So many comments here today. I love it. Great show today. Great show today. I mean, it could have been more game mechanics.
Thanks for watching. For the latest and
Could have
greatest...
been a hell of a lot more game mechanics, if you ask me. I really appreciate you guys. Let me tell you something. I love watching these shows with you. Oh, Tony Z once a month would be perfect. Tony Z, and the last time I listened to him with the economic panel at CitizenCon 2018 was very eye-opening. We talked about it here on the channel, and it's why I kept pushing an industrialist kind of agenda on the channel. Jeff says imagination is a spark that drew so many people into this game in the first place. Exactly. We shouldn't snuff it out. We shouldn't snuff it out. Matt says it's because he's here. Matt has slightly an ego. Yeah. I feel like with Microtech coming up, that's going to be the lead into the science mechanics. Very possibly, you know, the plants, when we watched, I think it was episode 2 or no, it was episode 4 of the ISC review, where they talked about Microtech and then they showed us the plants, and they were massive. I'm thinking they're these little ferns, and they're like absolutely humongous, you know, like they're just giant plants. So yeah, I think you're right. I think you are right, Pirate, that they will get into a little bit more on the science end when we get into Microtech. Spartan says, I want to know how in-depth science is going to be, because if I don't have to pay for a scientist and do it myself, I will. More money for my crew and I think science is a very, very kind of on the back burner thing with SIG right now, and they really need to talk more about it. Even if it's not even in the initial phase yet, just to tell us like what's in store, because people want to hear that. That's the immersive gameplay. The gameplay is where it's at. That's why you keep coming back to the game. The gameplay is where it's at. All the eye candy is great, but why am I logging into it, right? There's got to be a level of gameplay I like. Is it the PvP? Is it the PvE? Well, there's plenty of PvE right now. There's a bit of PvP. They got to work on the flight mechanics. What else is in there right now other than exploration? So like, let's get little tidbits of what's going to be put into the game so that people who actually like other aspects of the gameplay stick around, you know, like so that we know what's in store. Now with the UI overhaul, it's going to be nice. I think it'll be really nice for industrialists. I really do. Let's see here. I hope Microtech introduces dynamic weather. Oh man, dynamic weather was something that people were telling us years ago in 2016, 2015. Oh, they were hollering because they were like, oh, it's never going to be in the game, DG. It's never going to be in the game. And I kept saying, no, they will have dynamic weather. It is important for them to have the dynamic weather. And people told us no over and over. People kept coming in from other communities telling us what pieces of shit we were, and we didn't know what we were talking about. And I kept saying, it's going to be in there. People told us it wasn't important. I think it's really cool. I want that in the game. And guess what? It's in the game. But I would like to see it in the game. I want to see more space clouds and nebula storms. Yes, Captain, so do I. We really need an answer to the question, why do you do what do you do in SC right now? Yes, I think that's what you're saying, Rick. Yes, the potential for procedural anything in this game is stupendous. Imagine that you could do with your own bit of the procedural world. Yes, Jeff, I feel the missions are way too linear right now. Wondering how much this will, yes, the missions are getting a little bit over. I'm not much of a PvE guy, RSW, so, you know, it's nice to see these new characters, these new NPC characters giving you missions. It is nice to have those there, but I've never been huge into that anyway. I'd prefer to do missions with players, to have the player and player interaction, to do, you know, to ship something for you. For instance, you got a contract, you want me to ship some Widow for you, great, I want to do that business with you. I want more of those player to player interactions. Dynamic weather is basically confirmed. Yes, Matt, it is. Also procedurally generated clouds. Dynamic weather and nebulas will be out when the cloud tech is more refined, says Pirate. Yes, with their volumetric cloud technology, they've got a little bit more work to do. I saw a little bit more of the updates when they brought out the cave tech, which was cool because I got to see some of the frost that they had done, which I saw, and I thought to myself, wow, they're really coming very far with the volumetric cloud effects. Mission systems will get better, says Jeff. Yes, the planet could be loaded with diamonds due to the pressure of all the water. Yeah, there's so many possibilities, Spartan. The question is how dynamic weather affects things like atmospheric flight or economic efforts like mining or farming. Will they reduce solar energy production for factories? See, this is what I love. The imagination sparks, you see? You see, this is the fun. This is the fun part about the game that people have been scolded on. I think when people start to talk like this, so many citizens get scared. Don't talk about this because then the game will never come out. It's going to be one of those games that's going to take a long time anyway. So it's good to have this imagination. It's good to spark up the imagination to talk about these things. The second somebody tells you you're an asshole for bringing up these things or makes you feel like shit because you're bringing up things that are imaginative that you want in the game, just go tell them, tell them where to go for real. Because like, it's good to have these talks. They're in the initial phases. They're in the baby phases right now of the economy. And I can't tell you how many people have said, oh, DG, you need to be quiet about this, more player-driven mechanics with the economy. And I'm like, hell no. Why would I? They are starting now. This is the time that they're starting. Why on earth would I not talk about those things now when they're designing it? So interesting. Assassinations will be a thing when the law system comes in. Oh my goodness. Oh, I can't wait. You guys are getting me too excited about this game again. You guys are getting me all too excited about this game again. All right. I have got to go. We have spent a lot of time talking towards the end here. Thank you so much. Those of you watching on YouTube, come join us on stream live. Look how much fun we have. We have a great time. Links down below. Join us here for our stream. I love it. I love everybody that comes on here with their opinions, and everybody's super, super respectful here. Thank you guys for a wonderful show and a great time. I had a blast with you guys, and I will see you next week for another Inside Star Citizen review. Thank you.